We continue to preview the 2025 college volleyball season. Our stop today is Marion, Indiana, as we get to visit with Candace Moats, who is the head volleyball coach for the back-to-back national champion, Indiana Wesleyan Wildcats. Coach, it's always a privilege to get to have you stop by Midwest Sportsnet, and congratulations once again on another national championship. Now, I know it's been a few months since, back in December, but let's start there and talk about that. 37-2 for the 24 season. Tell us a little bit about that. You close out the year with 34 straight wins.
Yeah, so it really was an unusual season in the sense that we came back, kind of feeling a little bit of pressure, undefeated the year before, and so we were kind of like, all right, everybody's got all this expectation for us, target on our back, all that kind of thing. But I felt really good about how we navigated it. I just felt like we really just felt so privileged and honored that we got the first national championship, that it was always something that, love to repeat it, would love to have that experience again, but there was not a expectation that that was going to happen. So the focus kind of was like little small goals as we went along. And we kind of just like, hey, let's try to win conference again. Hey, let's try to, win our home tournaments. Let's keep the Lord in number one place for us. Let's keep building a chemistry of relationship where that becomes a stronger bond than we had the year before, which was something that was fantastic. They just really poured into that, really took care of their teammates. And so there was a lot of just going to the locker room on Sunday nights, praying for requests that their players had, that each player had, praying for our season, praying for just good mental health, good perspective. And so I felt like when we went into the season, it was a very good perspective. And as we traveled around, we lost the first two matches after our first win. And, we were like, well, okay, this is reality. It's not going to be the same or whatever. And so no one expected the ending that we had. And especially when the favor of God came upon us in the fifth set, which was unbelievable. You don't come back at 14-8 in a rally score in a fifth set when you're only going to 15, right? And just to watch that all come before us and just be like such a gift, it was really neat because one of the prayer warriors that was praying for us all season, he was praying, and he told me this afterwards. He said, I was praying that if God showed or willed that you all would be able to win a championship again, you would do it without anything that you could take upon yourself, that it was your effort, your attitude, your accomplishments, that it would all be something that was unexplainable, but that God just chose to bless you. And I mean, I sat and cried about that because I saw exactly that prayer answered. So it was, even though the first national championship that you win is always a memorable one, this second one was probably we'll never forget it.
Absolutely. And of course, Coach, referring to the comeback in the fifth set in the championship match against Bellevue, trailing 14-8 and coming back and getting a victory there. Just what an incredible comeback that was, and such a rarity, not only in overall in a 5-set match, but definitely in a championship setting as well. Coach, looking ahead just a little bit, well, let's go to the spring. You recruit, and there's so many players coming back, which we'll address in just a moment, but you still get out there on the recruiting trail and you bring in some students. And I want to read to you from the release that was on the Indiana Wesleyan Wildcats site, talking about the recruits. It says, quote, "These 4 student athletes will also fit right into our culture as they are all pursuing God within their lives." You have a couple of high school recruits, a couple of transfers that came in. So tell us a little bit about bringing them in.
Yeah. So, to start out, I would say I'm never like really bent towards, I'm going to get all transfers and try to like just bring in these big players that are going to try to win for us. It isn't something that I do. I think the strategy behind what I was doing now was just that I was trying to balance out just a little bit of some classes and trying to get maybe a few kind of maybe more people in a certain group of class. So I was kind of going into like the sophomore class, building that up a little bit because, 7 leave us after this year. And I was trying to minimize that number so we didn't have so many coming in and going out. But the 4 that are coming in are just the 2 freshmen to start out. I'm just excited about. I think that they are going to be just really impact players right away. I really have followed them a long time. I think that we were fortunate to get them to come our way, and they're just great people. They love the game. They play in really good clubs. And so, but they love the Lord. So it was really a neat fit for us. And also just bringing them into our team is just going to be a real boost to replace. I think one's going to replace Martina, who was a star for us this last year, Martina DeMarchi. And then with these sophomores or these transfers coming in, every once in a while, I'll go for an international, not always because they're expensive and you can't really get them a lot. But every once in a while, with my connections that I have, I'll maybe pick up somebody. And this particular girl from Peru just caught my heart, and just a great, great person, has a heart for just wanting to come to a school like us that just really wants a change in her life, lost her mother or her father and just recently, and mom's sick, and she just needed something good to happen to her in her life. And so we talked and everything. The more I talked to her, I just fell in love with her, and she's just going to be a great impact kid right away. She's been playing some good levels in Peru, and just really bringing a experience level. And then another kid whose brother's here, who just plays football, and she just was at her other school, and she just felt like her brother was just talking about how great Indiana Wesleyan was and how much the culture was changing him, and she was seeing that happening. And she just wrote me and said, would I be able to come and be a part of your team? And I looked at her and I'm like, oh my word, here's another story that God brings somebody that just writes me that becomes an impact player. Because I just think Avery's going to be a fantastic player. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the incoming class, and we're going to the Dominican Republic in a week. And so all these kids are going to go with us, and we're going to do a missions trip. We're going to go over there. We're going to do camps for a bunch of kids and do some work projects, painting, building, and we're just going to bond together. So it's exciting.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun, and I appreciate what you all are doing as team building, team bonding, and having an impact, making a difference for other people along the way too. That's a big deal. You were talking about the fact that there are going to be a number of them moving on after this season, so it's incredible to think about how much talent is coming back off of back-to-back national championship teams for another year, which I'm sure everyone in the Crossroads League is probably just going, "Come on, give us a break." But
right.
With that in mind, Ava Joldersma, she'll be a senior this year, NAIA Player of the Year, Attacker of the Year. She was an All-American. She was an academic All-American, hit 4.4 kills per set, and did it while she was hitting 296. Just incredible numbers across the board. She'll be leading your offense again, I'm sure.
Yeah. Ava is just a star player. Just so many things that she adds value to. But, if somebody were to come and look at our team and go, who's the best player on the team, who dominates, who knows that they dominate, nobody would pick Ava because she's so humble. And she has just been a steady work hard, love others, do my absolute best, give it all I got, and just let the Lord shine. And it's been Ava, and I think that's part of the blessings that keep coming upon her is she's just a selfless, incredibly talented person. And everybody respects her. I mean, I think even though people are maybe feeling like, oh man, when's she going to graduate? When's she going to get out of here? We got more years with her still. I think everybody thinks though that she's just a class act. So yes, Ava is definitely an impact. Abby, our setter, another story of someone just writing me, asking me if they could be a practice player. And that just kind of blows me away a little bit, and Abby just came in, and again, the same kind of attitude, personality. And Abby was somebody that just worked hard. She just worked, listened to things, developed, continued to get reps, and everybody loves her on the team. And she just made sure that every single hitter was going to look the best that they could because of her hard work. And so that's why people work hard for her. She works hard for them. And that's where this team has always been. It's like, let's work hard for each other. Let's make each other look the best. So Abby and Ava have been like the core group here. And then with that group is Katie, who has been there for all 4 years as well. Katie Notter, who's our bro. Katie, again, just a solid person. And I think all these kids, with Martina DeMarchi, who came in, and then she ended up getting her 5th year as a master's student here. They all just went to Switzerland this summer because they wanted to celebrate each other in their final year. And Martina, who graduated, they've been planning this for like 3 years, and it was kind of like that's what they wanted to do. So Katie's in that group as well, that has just always been here, hard worker, very humble, came in the first year, didn't get the bro position, stayed behind someone else, but just stayed steady, worked hard, never has an attitude. Never hear anything from Katie negative. Never. She's always just, it is what it is. I'm just going to tell me what I need to do, and I'm going to work hard for it. And people are always after a position on her team, and she goes, I'm going to fight for it. I'm going to make sure nobody takes it. But it is what it is. I'll do what I need to do to make this team better, and so she's just got an incredible attitude. Those 3 have been really key people that have been together this whole time. Then Marissa Millens, who was a transfer, who came in. Marissa has also kind of added value to our team. And it was kind of cool because Marissa, story about Marissa with her dad is they came to visit over a break. It was actually Christmas break after her first year at her other school. And she just knew she didn't want to go back there. And she was just kind of looking at all these different schools. And she had a boyfriend at another NAIA school. So it was sort of like that's where she thought she was going to go. And so she came to our school, and it was in the dead of winter. No one's here. It's over Christmas break, And so her and her dad came, and I was showing them stuff and, just like the program, and they were tracking. They knew a lot of the history of the program and all that. And I showed them a bunch of videos that I had for recruiting, and they got done with the visit that day, and they said, her dad said, Marissa, you can go to the other school and it'll be a good one for you. Your boyfriend will be there. It'll be great and all that. But if you want to come and potentially win a national championship, you should go to Indiana Wesleyan. And so he followed us everywhere, right? And so that was the next year when Marissa was in the undefeated season. And so every single time we'd win, he's like, one more win to the national championship. I can feel it. It's going to happen. And so when we actually won the national championship, I just gave him a big hug and I said, thanks for believing in us, man, but Marissa is just a solid person as well. And I keep ending with that because the reality of it is that these guys are just they're just exceptional people as well as athletes. And so that's what I think makes the team so successful.
Coach, I know we've learned a lot about your team. Actually, Ian, we had a chance to visit with both Ava and Abby the last time that you were on with us, and they brought a lot to the table. Then I know they bring a lot to your team and more, and getting to hear more about Katie and Marissa, all those seniors that will be on your team. And so previewing, I mean, we're talking from your outside to your setter to your defense, both on the back row and at the net. And in learning a little bit more about you, which is always a privilege to get to do, I'll ask you a question I've asked everyone this summer. Okay. What is your favorite 80s song or 80s band?
Well, the interesting story about this is that I grew up with a father and mother who kind of came to know the Lord later. And so when they found the Lord, it was like, okay, we're going to protect our kids from everything, right? So there was we hardly listened to the radio. We never went to movies. We never, it was one of those strict family, trying their best to help my brother and I grow up, in a good way. But they always listened to the Chicago. That was the one team or one band that they always listened to. And we even went to a concert. And so I'm going to say Chicago because that was the band that I basically grew up in. And some of the songs, I still love them because it brings me back memories from when or one band we got to listen to.
Okay. I love that story, Coach. That's great. Yeah. I can relate to some of that too. Yeah. But yes, and I have had a chance to see them live. I was later in life when I had a chance to see them, but great band, great harmonies, great instrumentation too. So that's a good one. All right. As we wrap up our time, then here you have you hosted an invitational with Mid-American Nazarene, Concordia, Columbia. That one should be a lot of fun. You go to the Hastings Invitational as well. Crossroads League's play starts at Grace on September 3rd. And again, Coach, I'm sure you're going to have that bullseye, and it may have gotten bigger.
Yep. I think that, I think we've made the Crossroads League better. I mean, honestly, because there's a lot of competitive coaches in our league. And I think that they have to get better to be able to knock us off, right? And so the competitiveness amongst a lot of these coaches have really grinded to go get some really great players. So I anticipate this being, yes, another incredible battle, trying to fight off conference championship. And, I think that it's going to take a little bit more every time. And I keep telling the girls, when they go away, like when they went away in May, I said, guys, this last round for you all seniors, you got 2 camps to go in. You got, it's my senior year. I'm going to just cruise and have a good time. Or it's my senior year. I'm going to leave a legacy and go after it and be that team that, does something remarkable. And so I hope that they grab the second camp, but you never know. Like, you go home for the summer and lots of fun stuff happens. But I think that we got some competitors on the team, and I think that the Crossroads League is going to be a very, very strong battle with us to get us ready for. We even go down to the tournament in Nebraska where we're going to play Bellevue. We're going to play Northwestern, 2 teams that we beat in the last 2 years of the national championship. So our first 6 matches are going to be nationally ranked teams in the top 15. So it's going to be a battle. We'll see what we're made of.
Well, You absolutely will, and we will as well. We'll be following the Wildcats this season, and it should be a fun month of August, one way or another, and then you head again toward Crossroads League play in the month of September. The Indiana Wesleyan Wildcats, 75-2 in the last 2 seasons, 2 national championships to boot. Coach Candace Moats, thank you so much for taking time with us today here on Midwest Sportsnet. We appreciate it, and we appreciate you previewing this upcoming season.
Oh, you're welcome. It was a privilege to be here with you. I appreciate you asking.